What goes around comes around. People talk about what goes around comes around. Do you believe in that? Well, I want you to watch this video. You remember Nicolas Sarkozy, ex-French president, who's now in trouble with the law. Remember him? Well, he's in jail, okay? Watch this video. These are inmates shouting at him and threatening him, saying, we're going to finish you. We know you're here. We're going to finish you. Let's watch.
On va venger Kadhafi. On encourage tout, Sarko. Sarko, Ziad, Takedjin, on encourage. Rends les milliards de dollars. Sarko, il est juste là, quartier isolé. Il est tout seul en cellule. Il vient d'arriver mardi 20 octobre 2025. Il va passer une mauvaise détention.
Wow. Wow. He says he's going to pass a very rough time in detention. We know Sarko is here. We know you're here. We are going to revenge Gaddafi. We know you're here. This is crazy. You know, people talk about stories about jail. They say sometimes you come to jail, you know, you jailed and you have a okay experience. And usually people that get very bad experience are people that they come to jail and they ask, what are you here for? If you're there for grape, for instance, they're going to beat you up, if not unalive you. Well, the guy that speaks has an accent, okay? The accent is Arabic accent. He's speaking French with an Arabic accent. I'm sure you're going to find it in English. But he's speaking French in an Arabic accent. So what I can say from that alone is probably from Northern Africa, like Algeria, Egypt, Tunisia, or maybe Libya. You never know. But he speaks French. He said, we are going to revenge Gaddafi. Inmates in Paris La Santé prison has threatened former President Sarkozy with revenge over the death of late Libyan president. This man right, you remember him? Mohammed Gaddafi. He was a great man for his people, but he was accused of being a dictator, of unaliving people and treating his people bad. Was that truth? Well, what we know about Gaddafi in reality, he was a good man for his people. He made things available for his people. Matter of fact, his country, Libya, used to produce a lot of oil back in time. And every time they sold oil, every citizen got a percentage from the oil sale. Now, you tell me how many times in your country you've received funds coming from the States because your country sold minerals. In Libya, people did that. Now, Gaddafi was somebody that encourages people to work very hard. If you wanted to work in agriculture, they will give you things, money, land. They will give you even a trainer, a mentor to help you build your business. And they will say you can only reimburse the money when you're ready. That was Libya. And they call him dictator. In Libya, matter of fact, every time a couple got married, you know, they received $5,000 from the state. Yes, for free. If the same couple had a child, the state gave them an apartment. How amazing is that? That was Libya for you. In Libya, for another thing, I would say, whenever a Libyan had an issue with his health and needed assistance or help or treatment from a foreign country, you know, from a different country, the Libyan government will make provisions so that the person can travel with one of the family members and go all over the world to go get treated. They will pay for everything, food, accommodation, treatment. That was with the dictator named Gaddafi. Simply because he did not want Western influence in his country. So many years ago, Gaddafi of Libya was one of the countries where there was no influence of the West. There was no KFC, no McDonald's, no Walmart, none of that. Doesn't exist. And as you would know by now, all countries in the world are actually just market. Okay, if your country doesn't open up to the market that is their market, you are considered as a dictator, a terrorist state or something. I mean, I give you a simple example. Look at Venezuela. Do you know why they run after Venezuela? Because Venezuela has, prioritized the people. They have nationalized the good of the country. Petroleum and stuff, it's only for Venezuelans. They don't want to open up to the international market. That's why they're going for Venezuela. Look at North Korea. They don't want any influence from any other national. Any influence from the West. That's why they labeled a rogue country. Look at Syria, it was the same. So you can see a pattern here. Many years ago, fellas, Sarkozy was interior minister. Okay, and at the time he went to Libya to have a discussion with the president of Libya. Whereas he was discussing with Libya, they wanted to find a way to stop immigrants from coming to Europe. As you can see, Libya on the map is very close to Europe. And many sub-Saharan Africans used to try across Libya trying to go to Europe. Now, during that discussion that he had with the president, he was inspired by something. He called the president aside, away from everybody else. He said, listen, Mr. President, I see you've been making some effort to have a good position in the world, to be viewed politically positively by other countries. I can help you do that because your country is closed up economically. Nobody likes you, but I can help rebuild the reputation that you need worldwide. How can you do that? He said, how about you finance me to win the elections in my country, France? After winning the election, I'm going to send you the lift, so you can be lifted up. I will make sure we do a campaign for you. I will make sure I speak to world leaders so that your country can be perceived in a positive light. That was the deal between Gaddafi and Sarkozy. And obviously, Sarkozy at the time was just trying to be a president, looking for money and opportunity and power. And Gaddafi said, okay, we're going to do that. They financed him a lot of money. They gave him millions of dollars to run his campaign for his election. Sarkozy eventually won the election. Now, guess what happened next? After winning the election, he changed completely. In 2011, Sarkozy next to NATO, we're talking about Barack Obama and Clinton lady, they went to Gaddafi to destroy. Before they did that, what happened?
Just 1 month, the United States has worked with our international partners to mobilize a broad coalition, secure an international mandate to protect civilians, stop an advancing army, prevent a massacre, and establish a no-fly zone with our allies and partners. Last night, NATO decided to take on the additional responsibility of protecting Libyan civilians.
So Barack Obama said they needed to save Libyan people from their leader, who was mad and crazy. Now, do you know why he said that? Well, the reason was very simple. Muammar Gaddafi had a great idea. His idea was, how do you explain the fact that we Africans are perceived as poor countries in the world? But theoretically, we have all the good. We have lithium, we have gold, we have diamond, we have petroleum, we have uranium, we have everything. Now, they don't have anything. Now, how come they are rich and we are poor? It makes no sense. Oh, matter of fact, when did we start valuing richness or riches based on a piece of paper? When did the currency become the money? I mean, have you ever asked yourself a question? When did the piece of dollar, that piece of paper, when did it become money? When did it become valuable? When did the piece of paper that would, how, when? Well, Gaddafi questioned that. He said, we should be the richest because we got gold. Let's create something. How about we create a currency based on gold and see who's really rich? Let me tell you something, what I've learned with time. Sometimes you have great ideas, okay? But those ideas shouldn't be spoken about. You shouldn't speak about them. Sometimes your ideas, you keep them in your heart until they're ready to be birthed. Because people are always watching and they're always trying to bring you down. Because the idea of Gaddafi was great. If you look at the continent of Africa, everybody's got gold, diamond and stuff. We are the richest. But they make you believe that you're poor because whatever they need to send you, ONGs or whatever you call it, NGOs to come and help you people. But the truth is we have everything. How come Africa's poor? It makes no sense. Well, Gaddafi spoke too early, many experts believe. He was very outspoken. Okay, he said, let's create the dinar that's going to support us. Let's see who is going to be the man. Well, that was a big threat to the dollar, especially. It was a big threat to the United States of America's dollar. Because if Africans had to embrace that idea of using the dinar, which is a currency based on gold, as a mean of trading, then the dollar would have crashed completely. That's why Barack Obama, who you think is black, you always scream he's a black president. No, Barack Obama is a mixed race president. His mom is white. And as per the way he moved, you can see clearly where his interest is. Stop, I think you understand by now. It's only black people that think just because some leader's got your skin color, he's got your best interest at heart. It's crazy. It's actually crazy. Barack Obama, Clinton, the lady, went to Libya. They bombarded the president's house. Under the pretext that the president was killing his own people. So in 2013, Gaddafi's son came forward. His name is Saif al-Islam. He said that his father provided the ex-president's campaign with some 50 million euros. That's about $58 million. Imagine somebody providing such amount of money for your campaign to win the election. But later on, you turn around and you have him killed. Now, the very same person, president, he denied the allegation, saying, no, I never took any money. Well, it wasn't me. You don't understand. They're just trying to bring me down. This is politically motivated. At the end of the day, now he's in jail. Okay. He might have to do 5 years in jail for this situation. And he's in jail now. And the people in jail, are saying, welcome. We remember. We remember you. We remember what you did to Gaddafi. We are going to make sure you have a bad time. So guess what happened now? Well, they have assigned 2 policemen to protect him in jail. Okay. The French Interior Minister, Laurent Nunez, stressed that due to the danger, 2 police officers of the security details assigned to former president will be permanently stationed in cell adjacent to Sarkozy. So he has to permanently be moving with policemen. Now, do you think those policemen cannot be corrupt? Okay. Do you think those policemen, if they have an incentive good enough, they will not allow like a split second of somebody giving you 2 or 3, 4 punches? Do you believe in karma? Well, I don't know if I believe in karma, but do you believe in karma? Do you think everything you do will come back to you? Well, we've seen situations where people are very, very nasty, very bad people in the world that seem to have lived a very good life and they died, with no consequences. I don't know. I mean, the president of Cameroon is 92 years old. A lot of people don't like him. He's been in power for 43 years, since 1982. Talking about somebody really, really loving his position because he doesn't believe there's anybody adequate. Nobody smart enough in Cameroon to run the country but him. And many people still cry up until today, saying that he's done atrocities and bad things. He has neglected the English side of Cameroon. Many people don't like him. Do you think karma, as according to them, will follow this president? I mean, he's 92 years old. He's going to die very soon, suddenly of a natural death with happiness. Do you think karma really exists? Let me know how you feel about this. Nicolas Sarkozy in jail. Let's watch this video again, before we might, we need to watch this video again of these people talking.
On va venger Gaddafi.
We will avenge
On
Gaddafi.
encourant tout, Sarko.
We know.
Sarko, Ziad Tekidjin, on encourant.
So the guy says his name is Zian Tekidjin. See, my name is Zian Tekidjin. So if you can, whatever you want to do with it, do with it. If you want to accuse me, do it. I'm telling you my name, but we are going to avenge Gaddafi. Give back the $1 billion.
Rends les milliards de dollars.
Sarko, il est juste là, quartier isolé. Il est tout seul en cellule, il vient d'arriver mardi 20 octobre 2025. Il va passer une mauvaise attention.
Okay, don't get triggered because here we talk about everything. We don't sugarcoat, okay? We call a span a span. It's a shithole country. I mean, which country do you know in the world where the president's been in power for 43 years and is looking to go in power again the 8th time? Okay, I'm just being honest with you. Well, by the time he finishes his next time, he's going to be 100 years old. President's been president since 1982. Anyway, I feel for you, brother. The goal is not to bash Cameroon. The goal is to wake everybody up. The goal here is to get everybody irritated. You got to be irritated in certain circumstances. You must be. Look, if Mr. President is competent, then maybe, I don't know. Are you telling me the entire country has nobody that's competent enough, that's young, strong, dynamic, that can assume this role? Now you're going to get angry because I said shit all? Oh, let's see about Cameroon. Okay. Now, Paul Biya, the long-serving president of Cameroon, currently age 92, has been in power since 1982. That's 43 years, brother. So basically what's happening right now, Cameroon has gone to elections, okay? Elections in Cameroon. And 2 main characters, Paul Biya and this man right here. Now, Paul Biya has been there for a long time. And trust me, a lot of people are kind of tired of him, okay? Even the people that really love him. When you've been there for 43 years, people are starting to look for change. Now, this man right here, who is he? This man worked with Paul Biya in the past. He used to be a minister of Biya, matter of fact. So he worked with the government with Paul Biya for a long time. Until recently, he changed the position. He says he wants to be president too. They ran for election and everybody's holding tight waiting for results. That's going to be available on October 27th. Now, what is Cameroon? Yes, Cameroon here to map. I've never been there, but I can tell you it's an interesting place. It's very tropical, big forests, a lot of people, many tribes. I believe 250 different ethnic groups. My brother, that's a lot of people. I mean, South Africa is about 11 languages. Okay. Cameroon is about 250. That's a lot of things. Now, what's the history of Cameroon? Cameroon was colonized by the Germans. In 1984, when the Germans and other Europeans went together to Berlin to discuss, Cameroon was taken by the Germans. The Germans colonized Cameroon from 1984 to 1916. Now, in 1916, something happened. The Germans went to World War, the first one against everybody else. But after the war, after they were defeated, two other countries took every colony from Germany. In 1916, France took a big chunk of Cameroon, and the British took two regions of Cameroon. What happened was Cameroon was guided by two different powers, okay? One speaking French, beating people up, forcing them to speak French and eat stinky cheese. If they refused, they beat them up again. And the British, who did absolutely nothing besides ordering them tea and green tea and, not knowing how to brush their teeth. Anyway, now, that's created something very interesting. One side of Cameroon was French speaking. So institutions, schools, and law and legal stuff were all in French, whilst the other side of Cameroon was purely English. Fast forward, during independence, French Cameroon gained independence in 1960, and the English side of Cameroon got independence in 1961. But then they decided, let's just work together. We're family after all. I mean, the white people separated us. Well, it didn't work out really, really well, because then they had major problems. Which ones? The French side seemed to dominate over the British side. How? Well, it seems like the British or the English side of Cameroon complained that the French side of Cameroon was financing the French side. They were getting all the infrastructure, all the buildings, all the money, all the opportunities, while the English side of Cameroon was neglected. And also other problems was schooling system in the French side was in French, legal stuff in French, whilst the British side was in English. So then bringing it together just created havoc. It was very difficult. And now, many years later, you would expect groups of people were very angry. They say we are feeling neglected, especially on the English side. They wanted to be a country. They didn't want to be part of Cameroon anymore. So that's one of the main reasons you see a lot of problems happening in Cameroon right now. Now, Paul Biya has been in power since 1982. That's a long time. And a lot of people are not very happy. They're tired. Okay, as much as you love somebody, I think it comes a time you're like, okay, brother, yeah, you know what I'm saying. So there has been so many problems with Paul Biya that even his daughter has disowned him. Okay, the daughter of the president said, please don't vote for my father. I've had enough. People are suffering in this country. People hate us. We can't do this anymore.
For the campaign, you really want to know who I'm going to vote for? I will not vote for Paul Biya. And if I ever hurt anyone or was a bad person toward Cameroonians or anyone, I'm sorry. And I'm truly sorry that it is my flesh and blood. The person who is supposed to be my father, who has made a whole nation suffer for years. Unfortunately, he also makes members of his own family suffer. Unfortunately, today, I no longer have family. You want me to die so badly. You want me to overdose so badly. Don't call me anymore. I won't take care of you anymore. Not 1 cent. And as soon as I can, I'll pack my things and move. And I won't post on social media anymore because I have to rebuild myself. Basically, people, it's my parents who want me to die of an overdose. It's my parents who want me dead. Don't vote for Paul Biya. Not because of me, but because he has caused enough people to suffer. That's all. I really hope there will be another president and I will not remove this video.
I mean, the president is 92 years old, I respect him, but this is the president in the meeting. He didn't quite know what to say. I mean, the president is in a meeting and he's asking, are there important people here? What am I doing next? What am I speaking? I mean, yeah, look at that.
Totally unaware of what is happening around him. He does not even know his aides keep explaining what he needs to do and telling him how important the event is. And he does not even know. He just keeps fiddling with the paper in front of him and passing that. This is the sad reality of the kind of presidents that we have running.
So what you're seeing here, brother, it's basically a president who's done everything he could do and it's time to let him go to the sunset. But the problem is, it's not the president. The problem is the people around the president. Those are the people that don't want to leave power. I bet you that president doesn't want to be president anymore. The thing is, in Africa, Africans create their own dictators. Let me put it this way for you. Somebody can come into power with very good ideas, wanting to make the country better. People around him, cousins, nieces, nephews, will tell him, Papa, no, it's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to look after us. Make sure we're good, we have good position. You don't have to fix everybody's village. That is not your goal. Somebody else will do that. And they will force him into transforming himself into a dictator. Whenever he decides, he says, I think it's enough, I want to get off power. They say, no, God gave you this. God gave you the power. Why do you want to give it over? Why you see so many shithole countries in Africa? That's one of the reasons. Yes, and when you tell them they're shithole, they get upset. Oh, I don't call my country shithole. Your country shithole, my man. Your country where there's military walking down the street, the general. It's a shithole country. How do you see a general in the street? What is the general doing in the street? In a car. Why are you seeing a general in a car in the street of your country? Have you seen a general in France in the street? Have you seen a general driving in Canada? You don't see them. They are at military bases. It's in shithole country you see generals in the street. It's in shithole country you see soldiers beating civilians like they are dogs. They don't respect you. They will beat you up so you can, during traffic, okay? Traffic jams. If a general is driving behind, his guards can jump off the car and force you off the road so they can pass. And you're telling me I must call your country what? Are you mad? Get over yourself. Anyway, let's get back to Cameroon. So that's the situation. The opposition worked with the president many years. Then he became opposition. Now, some people are saying, well, why do you want to be opposition now? You ate with the president. Just be faithful to the president. Now, apparently, the predictions say the president has won again for the 8th time. So he's going to be president until he's 100 years old. And some people say this is absolutely insane. And some people also say that the president offered the prime minister position to his main opposition. You know, like, forget about those little people. They don't mean nothing. Since you look like you're a strong boy, let me give you a position as a prime minister so we can eat together. My family and yours can be fine. You know what I mean? And apparently he refused to accept that position. Why would he accept? I mean, his opponent is 92 years old. You know, as much as we love him, how much longer can he really stay? Okay, you just gotta be patient for long enough for things to happen. That's what's happening in Cameroon right now. Like I said to you before, Africa in most cases create their own dictator. I know in some countries in Africa here, when the president came into power, he said, let's kill corruption. So whenever a president travels, the government releases money for president's travel. Okay, so the president doesn't go by himself; he goes with people. Now they need funding so they can travel. You know, pay the hotel, pay transportation, security, food, and stuff like that. Let's say the president asks for $1 million for 1 week trip, and he goes over there, and they only spend $100,000 for the trip. That president went back to the country and said, "Did my trip? I only spent $100,000. Now here is $900,000 that we didn't spend. It went back into the state coffers." Guess what happened next? The people of the president says, "No, Mr. President, how can you do that? How can you return the money? This is God that gave you this opportunity. We need to spend it all." You understand? And that's how things change. So same for this guy, Mobutu. You see this guy here? Mobutu Sese Seko from DRC. DRC used to be called Zaire back in time. Was an interesting human being. Matter of fact, he's done bad things and good things. One of the good things he did was people from Zaire or DRC in the Congo back then, their names used to be white people's name. The colonizer came into that country, beat them so bad they forgot their own traditional names. No, they didn't forget, but they forced them to use white people name. They used to have names like Jean Chrysostome Maroc, Patrick Koumenaker, Giscard Koumenaker. Those was like black people's name. White people religion, white people name, first name and last name. It's when Mobutu came into power that he introduced something they call authenticity. Okay, so the African man must have an African name. He came back with it. He said, why should I name myself a Jewish name? Why should I be a Ishmaela, a Rakmaslala? When did you see a Jewish man have a Mukumbo as name or Makundo as name, a surname?
That the church found that some of these people I am referring to here behave very well here. Well, they are canonized, they are saints, they are in heaven. Their names became first names. Me, you see, I am Zairian, African, Bantu. How do you expect me to bear a Jewish name when I am not Jewish myself? Do you know a single Jew in the world who has a Zairian name? So why me? Do you really think it would be smart, even conceivable, for a young woman from my country to have a first name like Chantal or Marie-France or Marie-Flore? What does that even mean?
Because those are the type of names you see people from that country. DRC, if it doesn't sound Mukumbo, Makumbo, Ndembombo, like a like a drum, it doesn't. No, if it doesn't sound like a drum, it's not from the Congo. He influenced that positive thing in the people. However, his brothers, his cousins, his nephew told him, "Sir, you're not here to fix the world. It's not your prerogative. Make sure our tribe is fine." What he did next was take care of his tribe only and forgot everybody else. That is how very slowly people started hating. DRC or Congo, Zaire at the time used to be the most respected country in Africa in many ways. Surely they love music and everything else. Most Africans went. A young Senegalese man has been found unalived in Ghana. This is sad and big. And Senegalese people are very unhappy with Ghana. Ghana has reacted. Basically, the Senegalese people are pointing fingers at Ghana. Like, how could you unalive a child, a young man, 18 years old? Ghanaians are pointing fingers at Nigerians. They're saying Nigerians are the reason why that boy was unalived. Now we're going to find out about that. So we are in Ghana, right here, as you can see. This is a story of a young man from Senegal. Everybody in life has dreams, right? We all want to achieve something. We want to be somebody in life. The young Senegalese man is 18 years old. He's a soccer player. He's a goalkeeper. Okay, so he played for a team in Senegal for many years, obviously trying his best, looking for opportunities to get better. In most cases in Africa, a lot of young people work very hard when they're in sports, hoping to get an opportunity to be signed with a club somewhere in Europe or America so they can make money and change their family's life. The boy comes from a very poor background. Now, his dream of becoming an international soccer player, it came to life. How? Some people in Ghana reached out to him saying, listen, we have an opportunity for you where you could go play soccer or football overseas. And we're talking about Europe. But before you do that, you need to come to Ghana because this is where our center is. So we need to process your documents here in Ghana. Then you're going to go to Europe and play as a professional. As a young 18-year-old coming from a background where poverty and disease and difficulties, you cannot not seize that opportunity. And usually a lot of people will ask, why did you not scrutinize? Why did you not think about it? But when you come from poverty, when you live in misery, when you're stressed constantly, and you have a breach, an opportunity that could clearly change your life forever, you don't think very much. You don't put yourself into details anymore because you believe it's sent by God. The boy went to Ghana. When he arrived to Ghana, he was met by some people that took him somewhere where it turned very quickly from a recruitment for a soccer player company to kidnapping. He was kidnapped. He was beat up. He was tossed around. He was turned around and taken picture. They obviously forced him to give details from his family. He provided the details. These people took videos of him and sent to his mother where he was beat up really bad. That's left his country going to Ghana, hoping that he's going to get an opportunity to fly somewhere in Europe because he's found a recruiter. Because this is how it works. Usually it's very difficult for a player, a soccer player, a football player, any other thing to find a decent club by themselves. Usually they have to go through a recruiter. Okay, somebody that comes and scouts, looks for talent, and sells you to a company where they get percentage. Now, this boy clearly thought this was one of those opportunities. He found himself within the end of dangerous people. Now, these people beat him up very hard and asked the mother and the family to send money. They couldn't send him the money that they needed. Unfortunately, a couple of days later, they slashed that boy. I can't put the videos, it's sad. They cut him into small pieces. And somebody took his body to an hospital, a local hospital in Ghana. Okay, the person named Issa went to an hospital saying he was Touré's brother. This is the boy's name. So a man named Issa, who claimed to be Touré's brother, brought him to an hospital in Kumasi in critical condition, saying that he had been in an accident. However, hospital records suggest that Touré was already deceased upon arrival. So this Issa guy said he was his brother, but the boy doesn't have any brother in Ghana. So who was this Issa? Okay, that's a big issue. Now, the authorities of Ghana suspect a network of armed extortionists operating in Ghana may have been behind the crime, but no suspect has been formally charged yet. And clearly, fellas, this is something that's very sad. I mean, 18 years old, I know some of you here are matured enough to be a parent of an 18-year-old. It's very sad to see that situation of a young man. I mean, it reminds me of myself leaving my country many, many years ago. I was about 20 years old, looking for a better life, going to another place and looking for opportunities and stuff like that. It was very difficult. I mean, this boy was 18 years old. He was lured into a place where he paid money to get to. He was stopped, beat up, and kidnapped. And his family was asked for money. And because the family could not gather the money they were asking for, they killed this boy. Senegalese are very angry, okay? Very angry at Ghana. Fellas, I know Ghana to be a very peaceful place. Look, let me remind you here. Ghana is one of the most stable democracies in Africa. And as per some of the knowledge that's available, you don't see situations like this in Ghana. I mean, you may see this and here, somebody stealing there and there, but you don't see crime, violent crime and things like this in Ghana. Okay, you don't necessarily see it. And not to say Ghanaians are unable to do it. Now, what's happening right now? Senegalese are very angry at Ghana. Well, the Ghanaians are saying, well, it's not us. They're pointing fingers at Nigerians. Ghanaians are saying Nigerians living in Ghana are the people doing this type of crimes. Now, is this correct or not? We don't know. We have no proof. But it's just very sad that we can get to this place. And guess what? The Ghanaians are saying they don't want foreigners in the country anymore. They don't want foreigners in the country anymore. Why? Because Ghana is not what they're seeing right now. The reputation of Ghana is going into the gutter, being qualified as a country of crime, which is not. Because we all know Ghana is one of the most stable democracy in Africa. Now, stable democracy in Africa doesn't mean there's no crime. Well, you have to check some boxes to be one of the most stable democracy in Africa. Well, are there Nigerians living in Ghana? There are plenty of Nigerians living in Ghana. Okay, are there Nigerians doing crime in Ghana? Well, they've been reported to be doing crime in Ghana. Ghanaians are accusing Nigerians of doing that. Now, my case is this one. We are all fighting very hard to try to find a way so Africa can open its doors, and we can, with one another, try to cooperate. So we don't have to depend on AGOAs and all other donors from other places. We are all working very hard to make sure that Africans are on the same length so we can understand each other, so we can build with one another, so we can have a decent Africa that is free economically, that is free politically of any influence that comes from outside. And this is what we're getting. I mean, this is what we're getting. Ghanaians are blaming the president, saying they don't want to be part of ECOWAS anymore. The Ghanaians are saying they don't want to be part of ECOWAS anymore. What is ECOWAS? ECOWAS are these countries you see on the map. These are all the countries that have sort of a deal where they can help each other, live with one another. They also allow their citizens to cross any country without a visa. So they can go and stay and sometimes operate without a visa. Now, if Ghanaians are angry at this point, saying that we are not the people that have done this crime because this is not Ghanaian, they are pointing fingers at specific people. They are now asking to be out of ECOWAS. They're blaming the president. They say it's because of you. You said we could live together. It's because of you. You said we were just all Africans. It's because of you. Look at our reputation going to the gutter. The question is very simple. Can Africa come together if there's no accountability? Now, does Nigeria have a history of kidnapping? Absolutely. We all know that. And I know some of you here will get very angry at me saying that, yeah, you don't like Nigeria. Am I lying? That's the question. The question you should be asking is this man lying? Is he exaggerating? No, I'm not. Nigeria has a history of kidnapping. And that's one of the main reasons why many people don't go to Nigeria, because people get kidnapped. Nigeria prominent people travel in the street with bodyguard armed with Kalashnikovs and AK-47s. Why? Because they don't want to be kidnapped. Nigeria is a place where the Christians are killed the most in the world. Not in Saudi Arabia, not in Arab countries in the Middle East, in Nigeria. Why? Just because they're Christian. Who killed them? Well, some people, apparently some herdsmen or some people from the north. But who cares about that? We don't care, because the bottom line is they are described as who? Nigerians. Now, is this truth that there are Nigerians that have unalived this boy? We don't know. Well, the Ghanaians are saying it's not us. We don't want this anymore. The Ghanaians are saying we want him out. Let me just remind you a little bit a while back. There was a situation where many Ghanaians went down the street asking for the president to do something about Nigerians in the country, because there was a Nigerian man who proeminence, apparently had some means, some financials, or an Igbo man that wanted to create an Igbo kingdom in Ghana. Okay, I mean, Igbo is a tribe. Okay, it's a tribe. It's a Nigerian tribe. Every country in Africa has its own tribe. You can see this is Nigeria. They have many tribes. I believe there are like 400 different tribes of Omo. Now, amongst them, one of the major ones is the Igbos. Now, this man is an Igbo, and Igbos are known in most people of Africa as being very proud, okay, which is a good thing, very proud of themselves. Some people think they are a little too proud, because then sometimes they stample on other people in their countries. You know, they're very pushy, you know. That's what people think. Many people think that Igbos are very loud. Not all Africans are loud, okay? Not all Africans are loud, okay? And for Igbo people, talking loud is normal, man. Igbo are very solidarity. They hate each other. They help one another. It's a good thing we see that. However, this man that's very ambitious that went to Ghana say, I'm coming to Ghana and I want to open an Igbo kingdom in Ghana where Igbo people will unite, infuriated many Ghanaians. He said, this is our country. Which Ghanaian has gone to Nigeria creating a Ewe tribe in Nigeria? Nobody. Okay? And so people got very angry, because when they asked this person a question like, why are you doing this? He looked like he was being arrogant. He was saying, well, you know, I've done great in my life. Don't be jealous of me. I'm creating my Igbo kingdom here. Well, you know.
Creating Igbo village, which has never happened in the history of the world among the Igbos in the world. As I'm talking to you, I've acquired 50 acres of land. That is 250 plus of land along the Flower Road. That is at Old Ningo area. But along that road, it's right on the road. I acquired 250 plus of land. My reason of acquiring this land is to build Igbo village in Ghana. I call it Amandi Igbo in Ghana. We'll build a village where we're gonna build the palace of Igbo there, a huge palace. We'll build Igbo town hall there with about 2,000 capacity chairs and 100 rooms guest house.
So that's what it is, fellas. Senegalese people are pointing fingers at Ghana, saying, you have done us wrong. We did not think, because Senegal and Ghana are some of the most democratic countries in Africa. You have done us wrong. Now, Ghanaians are now pointing fingers at Nigeria. So it's not us. Actually, we don't want to be part of ECOWAS anymore. Okay? We blaming the president, because of him, our doors are open. Because of him, foreigners are coming in our countries. And foreigners is not all foreigners of Africa. It's specific foreigners they're talking about. This is very sad, because a young man, 18 years old, looking for a better life, looking for an opportunity. Like, couldn't you just kick him out because he doesn't have money? Could you not just dump him somewhere in the forest so he can find his own way? Like, why do you have to kill him? Why? Why do you have to do that? It's very sad. It is very, very sad. The boy with dreams and ambitions. I mean, you know how much guts it takes an 18-year-old to leave his country, say goodbye to his family, hoping to get a better life, going to the unknown, 18 years old. Because you need money and the world must love you and accept you. How do you justify that? How do you justify? If Ghana say we're closing our doors, you're going to get angry saying, well, they're xenophobic. Let me know how you feel about this. Very sad. The boy used to play for a team named Esprit Foot Yembel, a football club training academy based in Yembel in Senegal. So he was registered. He trained a lot. Okay. A very, very sad situation. The authorities suspect a network of armed extortionists operating in Ghana. Can Africa come together, my brothers? How do we fix this? If Africa ever had to come together, how do you fix this? Look, if I was the president, I'll take these people and get them All of them. No prison. I'm sorry. For certain crimes, there's no prison. Okay? You bring in drugs, we're going to treat you like Chinese treat drug dealers, and Vietnam and Thailand. Yes, and Philippines. They unalive you. That's the best way to go with these people. You are arrested within an avenue of human trafficking. No prison for you. You must reduce them. There are too many people. I'm sorry. There's too many people. And that's the problem, and that's also going to be a way to reduce things very quickly, and nobody should have problem with that. If you know you're a decent human being, you shouldn't have an issue with that, right? Because if you're not going to grape anybody, you're not going to unalive somebody because you want to extort money, why would you be worried about? Take those people. We need to clean Africa. Africa needs to be clean because some Africans are denting the reputation of all Africans across the world. And the reason why we scrutinize everywhere we go in the world is because of a specific group of people that do the same thing over and over. We need to take them and sign a deal in every African country. If you arrest these people, don't put them in jail. Take them to a place and them. That's it. Problem resolved. Bless.